if I didn't want to eat, like I want to eat like a Labrador. Like if you put whatever in front of them, they'll just eat until they're dead. But if I didn't have that, I can imagine the process of eating being really disgusting. If I didn't want to eat, it would feel like the act of it would feel like kind of like shitting. Like you're just cramming all this chewed up mulch food into your throat. That'd be weird.
I can see how that there's a like I like watching like strongman stuff and like documentaries on YouTube. And there was this one guy who I don't remember his name, but there's like a whole doc about him on YouTube, and like it showed him doing he's enormous, not a bodybuilder, a strongman. So just built like a brick shithouse, enormous, got that big bodybuilder gut or that big strongman gut that you can still somehow see some abdominal definition. And like he was sitting down for a meal, breakfast, which was like 14 eggs, 2 pounds of turkey bacon, and a bunch of asparagus. And like the documentarians were like, so how do you learn to enjoy the food you have to eat? Because, you know, you have to eat another meal like this in about 90 minutes. And he's like, it's just the job. I hate every second of this. I hate every bite. I hate every chew. I hate it. If I'm being honest with you, I hate this. It really it pushes me towards depression.
Oh wow!
It was funny to see that, where like you would imagine having that much muscle mass, being able to eat whatever you want, but it's like no, you got to eat like. And I like when I get like super, I go in like waves where I'll get like super into weightlifting and shit, where I'm like really honing my diet, and then other times like right now where I'm just an absolute monster and eat anything, and like trying to choke down another chicken breast is the worst.
Yeah.
Even if you've like tricked yourself into seasoning it in the right way, and I got buffalo sauce because that's lower calorie than barbecue.
I had chicken breast for lunch and dinner today.
Oh, it's so boring. It's so boring.
George Foreman.
I don't care for it. Yeah.
God, I used to love those strongman contests. My favorite part was when they'd talk about how long it took them to get out of bed in the morning.
Because
it took them a while?
Oh, yeah, because their bodies are so fucked up. They're beautiful, but their bodies are all torn up on the inside. They'd do one leg at a time, like, and then get it going, and then bring the other leg over and do all these stretches.
That belly, Taylor,
deadlifting 1,000 pounds 3 times a week.
It's from human growth hormone. That belly. The weightlifters have it too. They call it bubble belly or something. I forget. I'm a little bubble gut. They call it. And the weightlifters will have like ripped abs, but big bubble gut, and it's not attractive. And they a lot of guys don't like it because it makes the bodybuilders look like freaks. And they're like, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Some people would consider him too big and bulky and not what they're going for. But at least you can see it and say that somebody might want that. That would be a good physique. What they have now with the bubble guts is not hot. Nobody wants to look like that.
I'd rather look like one of them than how I look right now. Guaranteed. Just be enormous.
You'd rather look like a bubble gut guy than just a normal guy.
Just a bubble gut guy
all the time
with enormous arms and shoulder girdle and big pecs, and just knowing you can munch on whatever you want.
Yeah.
Let's see. What do you?
This is
okay. Yeah, some of these aren't looking.
Oh wow.
Good. Ooh.
I think
I
you're
can't
right.
even.
Taylor.
That guy's got so much self tanner on. I can't tell what race he is. That's some like Italian guy who made it. Oh man, that guy. Okay, I redact it. I redacted that
I think
claim.
sometimes these are Photoshop, but yeah, they've got ripped bubble guts, and it's just the human growth hormone is making the organs inside expand, so they just have like awesome ab muscles on top of expanded intestines.
Is HGH? Does that fuck with your testicles, or is that just testosterone?
I would guess just testosterone. I'm not positive. I think I'm outside of my depth here. There's probably some experts listening, but I think the benefit of HGH is that it makes a lot of your connecting stuff a little stronger, your tendons and your ligaments, and it helps you avoid injury. If you just do testosterone, then you'll break your other shit, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, well, speaking of grotesque physical deformities, I injected saline into my scrotum on the show last week. I highly recommend it. I don't know if you guys have heard of this. Have you ever thought about injecting saline into your
Not
balls?
even once. No.
A good pint's worth. Highly recommend it. I had it was painful for a bit while it was happening, but I had the time of my life for like 2 days walking around with what was essentially a small gourd between my legs.
What did you use like
Google again? No, this one's Bing.
No, it was this. Do you remember when this dude who was in a muscle pup harem of guys who would inflate their balls with silicone died?
We talked about this exact thing on the show. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
I talked
Sounds
about
like
it on
a
my
PKA
show.
topic.
Yeah. I talked about it on my show, and a guy who does it, a guy who injected his balls with silicone just for the look of it, was listening and called in and, was threatening to give us the saline treatment, which is temporary and a lot safer than injecting free silicone into your balls. A year later, he happens to be in LA, and I'm like, well, I mean, fuck it, man. I said I would do it on the show when you call in. Do it. Come on in. Bring your medical supplies. Strap a saline bag to the wall behind me, and let it rip.
So
on.
Wait, so you actually injected your nutsack with saline? So what happens?
Yeah.
Does it just fill like a balloon and your nuts get lost?
Let me jump in right there. If you go to Bing, audience, and do an image search on saline scrotum inflating, you'll see hundreds of inflated scrotums. And to be honest, it's not a bad look. Like it. All these scrotums are now a little bit bigger, but the wrinkles are gone. I just sort of noticed everyone shaving them, but it almost looks like a boob. It
feels like a boob. Like I couldn't stop playing with it. It was like a giant. Like I would claw it day, and when anyone wasn't looking, you just go like, "Huh, that thing's got some real heft to it."
How long did this last for until it goes away or whatever?
It lasted. Let's see. The process started at about noon, and after they get pumped up, I think I only did 100 cc's because the pain was beyond description. Like it felt like, I guess if you do it yourself at home, you can find a spot where it's not painful, but if you let another guy do it, which I was doing, they can't really tell where it hurts.
Mm-hmm.
So I got the worst version of the injection, but I did 100 cc's, and then that's when the swelling starts. Like at the time, I had a bunch of artists in here drawing sketches, real life sketches of it, because I didn't want to take pictures of my balls and put them on the internet. You get a good 2 or 3 times increase at the time, but then over like 4 hours, it soaks into all the tissue, and the tissue inflames around it. Like your actual balls swell in the sack. By like 8 o'clock, I had a fucking like a huge mango, like a mango that would be wrapped in that white webbing stuff. Yeah. Like it was that size. It wasn't just a mango that you throw in a bag with other mangoes. It's a mango that has a protective layer. That lasted all night. It lasted into the next day. The day after that, they were mostly deflated. I had to do Pilates on Monday, and it was when I sat down, I would have to kind of excavate it out of there and put it between my thighs, or else it'd be uncomfortable. It lasted for about 2 days. And then it was sloshy for like no bullshit. It felt like my nuts had been to a day spa. It was nice and sloshy. They felt more slippery, like the sack. It felt like a brand new sack in there. Yeah, it was great. Lasted for a couple days. It kind of eased me back into to real life.
It kind of sounds like fun, man.
I highly recommend it. I highly recommend it.
Did you fuck with your giant balls?
Oh God, yes. My girlfriend, and I will say this: all women love them. They cannot stop talking about them. They're tripping over themselves to not ask for pictures of it. I've never had that much interest from the opposite sex than when I filled my balls up with saline.
That is,
which doesn't say much.
So
but
fucking funny.
My audience has heard a lot of this before, but I had a testicular torsion when I was 15.
I was afraid of that.
Your testicle spins inside your scrotum, and it kind of the vas deferens, I think, it gets tightened, and it doesn't get the blood supply. Big thing. Anyway, so they rushed me to the hospital. They untwisted it. Everything was cool. And I had to put like gauze under my ball sack for like 2 weeks. And I also had to wear loose clothes. So I'm like back in high school. And it's not that it made your dick bigger. It's just that the gauze kind of put it on a pedestal. Like it took your junk and now it's being presented on a shelf. And,
it's like a push-up bra for your dick.
Right? Thank you. It's like a push-up bra for your dick. And I'm not wearing jeans or anything tight like that. I'm wearing sweatpants. So I just got sweatpants and a push-up bra for my dick, strutting around the hallways of Ocean City High. It was a good time.
Man, if it weren't for the horrific first part of that story, then it might seem worthwhile. But I like my testicles staying right and left. Just basic bitch, my balls. I don't even want to put saline in them, even though the way you described it does sound.
I know you do. You're lying.
It seems painful. How do you know how far to put the needle in?
I don't know. I just let the guy do it. It was in way further than I thought it would be.
Oh God.
I just kind of thought it would be like I imagined, okay, I could feel my own scrotum skin. It's not that thick, like just half of that. And once you pop it in, you just pump it in. But this guy was just like going and going and going. Like, oh man, dude, it's gonna come out the other side if you keep pushing it in like that.
Oh man, why? That is.
And then it starts dripping, and you know that's like the pressure. You can watch it just start drip, 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 like going faster and faster.
I feel like an idiot, but I always sort of thought there was kind of a wall in the middle, right? No,
there's not.
It's just
keeping them separated or whatever.
Yeah.
No, they're pretty well behaved. They stay in their own area. They don't need a wall.
Generally, yeah. I never thought there was a wall in my nutsack.
Well, wait. You might think there's one. I might be revealing way more about myself than I mean to, but like, because doesn't it look like it's like kind of stitched up in the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it looks like you could think that maybe they're like two halves, and there's like a guy in the middle that kind of keeps them separated. But
right, a little traffic flow, and there's a minor stitched in place so that they can't move around, and I can't have a repeat injury. So, like, I don't know, maybe normal balls, you could even put the right one on the left side and prove that there's no wall, but that's not something I'm capable of doing.
I've said it on the show, even recently, that like when I was like 10, I thought the balls were just free floating down there. And so I like crossed them once and was like, that's neat. And then I tried to cross them again. To put them back in their original place, and the pain was so sudden, so sharp, and like that I was like, okay, well, lesson learned. You know?
Have you guys ever talked about disappearing balls?
My dog had that.
I don't think so. Is that when they go up in your body?
Yeah, they're way more free flowing than I thought. I remember my my ex wife, the first girl, my real high school girlfriend, or like the long term first real relationship. You know, we did everything. We learned all the shit. And when she was jerking me off, you're like, hey, it feels really good when you squeeze the balls. And you know, she's a girl. What does she do? You know, real aggressive. And you know, as she's going after it, she's like, oh, this is weird. It's like different. And I'm like, well, what do you mean? It's like, I don't know. It's like you only have one ball. And I reached down. I was like, what? And I was so. I don't know if you know what it's like to reach down and be missing a fucking testicle. And it was I was very afraid because I was like, this is not possible. I don't know how a ball is just as weird. And yeah, I guess sometimes they go, if you push them too hard, they kind of go up into. Like,
is this a thing that happens to all guys?
Damn.
You can do it right now.
I can't. Yeah. There's mine are fixed. They're sewn in.
No,
I do because of the surgery.
I'm gonna.
As part of the surgery, they put them in place and they sew them there, and there they stay.
Okay.
I have adopted like a whole move when I'm getting any like hand job, blow job, or whatever of doing like a Vulcan thing and splitting my cock just because I'm so like she's always pressing exactly like you're describing into the wrong, like the exact wrong spot on my balls. Mm-hmm. So I'm trying to always like putting like a cattle or what are those things in the front of a train down there to keep them out of that.
Cow something, right?
To keep them out of that.